In this video, we're going to implement sending invitations from admin users to regular users to join to a group, and the regular users will be able to join to a group by just clicking on the link which they will receive in their email. Now let's comment the changes. And we did a lot of things in this comment, and I want to split it into different commit messages. Okay, we installed the telescope here as well. I don't want to include telescope commit message in the same telescope changes in the same commit message. So first, I will commit everything related to my functionality. And while I'm making comments during review, I can see that this resource is never used. I can remove this, can be removed. We need the other things, and we need that. Okay, good. The next is the home page, which we fixed, and we can leave it. The next is we fixed this group resource class, which we need. The next is this part. We updated the group model, and we need that. Okay, this is something related to telescope, so I'm not going to include this in this commit message. Let's go forward. This is something we need to include. This is something I want to include because we linked from the home page into a group profile page. This is the new group view, which I definitely need to include. Then we have these fixings of the existing profile view, which we need to include. And these are the roles, I need to include them. And this is something I don't want to include. This is also I don't want to include. And the next things basically are something which I don't want to include. Okay, and these are related to telescope. And we have also these new files for the telescope. So now I'm splitting this into two commit messages, which is something you should be doing when it happens that when you are working on one task, you unfortunately had to switch to another thing as well. For example, I had to install the telescope to debug why the query was not working as expected. So the first commit message will be implement group profile page with cover and thumbnail upload. Let's commit this. And the second commit message, it is still analyzing. Cool. And the second commit message will be install Laravel telescope. Okay, I'm going to close again everything, and I'm going to open group/view, and we have this invite users button, and I'm going to start from here. But to be able to invite someone, I have to have at least second user registration in my system, which I don't have right now. So let's go into sign up page or register page. And I'm going to install Mary at example.com. Let's hit the register, and I need to check my mail pit, I think. Which port is it? This is it, 8025. And here's the mail. I'm going to click right here, and now Mary is authenticated, but I need a second profile. So now here also Mary is authenticated, but I want two profiles. So let me log out from here and authenticate with John. And I'm going to create new guest localhost success in Mary at example.com. Okay, good. Now, first of all, we can see that Mary doesn't have any groups. However, Mary is right now able to see the posts made by John Smith, which is not quite correct, which we're going to fix later, but this is not the most important thing right now. The important thing is that we, John in our case, should be able to invite Mary in specific group. So if I go in the vue.js developers, by the way, let's just download vue.js PNG, this one. Save image. Cool. Let's go in the pictures. Okay, so we see this Vue.js developers. Okay, now John should be able to invite Mary by clicking on this button and providing the email address for Mary. How we're going to do this? So whenever I click the button, I want to display the modal. Inside the modal, there should be one single input field to write either the username or the email, and we hit the submit button. If there is no user with such email or username, we are gonna show user message that the user with such username or email does not exist. However, if it exists, we're gonna submit, and we are gonna generate the token, and we're gonna do all the stuff we mentioned previously, but I'm gonna repeat. So in this group users table, we are going to generate the token, and we're going to assign the token expire date as well, which will be probably 1 hour from now or 24 hours from now. And the user status will be pending, and then Mary will receive a notification that he was invited to join into the group Vue.js developers, and Mary will have this link in her email address, and whenever Mary clicks on the link, then we're going to handle this. We're going to make the status approved, and we are going to also provide the token is used right here. So that second time, if Mary clicks on the same link, we're going to show Mary the message that the token has already been used. Sounds exciting. Okay, let's start from the John, and we're going to implement this modal invite users. Let's close this. We are in the group view, and this is the button we're going to work right now. I'm going to create, inside the group, let's create a modal. Actually, let me copy this modal from the components app. Group modal probably will be very similar to it. So let's just paste group modal, and we're going to have name invite user modal. Let's add this. Let's take care of the markup first. By the way, I'm looking at this modal right now, and I see that I have a lot of things repeated in every single modal. For example, this whole part is actually repeated. I can see this. And then this is the difference. And then the body part is different. At some point, I'm going to make this modal reusable component and just avoid having the same duplicated code every time. Right now, let's give this proper title, invite users. Okay, this is going to be username or email. Then what is our form? It has name. Let's just call this email. Then here we're going to have email. We don't need other inputs here. And then when we click on the submit, it's going to call on submit, which will do something. Okay, what is it going to do? I think we just need to submit the form. We're going to provide the route. This is going to be some sort of route which I don't have right now defined, but let's open web.php and define this. We need to define this right here, group, invite, and we need to provide the group inside which we're going to do the invite, and invite users will be the function, group, invite users. Let's go inside this controller and create this function, invite users. We are accepting a group right here, but we are also accepting a request. Okay, whenever we do the invitation, we are gonna create record inside these group users. Group user create. Let's provide what fields we need to provide. Let me copy everything. We don't need ID, we need status. Okay, we need status, role, we need token expire date, we need token used by default will be null, so we can remove this. The user ID, we need the group ID, and we need created by, which is going to be auth ID. The user ID is basically the user we are trying to invite. So if I get the data right now from request validate, okay, and I'm going to provide the email, which needs to be required, and I need to check that this must exist in the database under users table under email column. However, it must also exist in the username column. So let me ask ChatGPT if it knows how to write a rule, validation rule for that. I mean, we can obviously write a custom validation rule, but this is not exactly what I want right now, if there is a better solution. Okay, let me actually close this guest because it is just disturbing me right now with my Alt and Tab navigation between browser and the PHP store. So here I need, I want to write Laravel validation rule to check if provided input exists in users table in either email column or in username column. Okay, so this suggests me to create unique user or email new validation rule, which is not actually very bad a decision. I can create new validation rule inside app rules with ORWIR. Here it says doesn't exist, but I need exists. And the message says that the attribute is already in use, but I want vice versa. I want that this should exist. Let's create this custom rule. PHP artisan make rule. We're going to call this username, or how it's called. The name is also not very unique, user or email. I want like exists in username or email. This is more correct to me. Let's open exists in username or email, this validation rule. And inside validate, we are going to return user. We can provide just where. We have this attribute actually. Do we need the attribute in this case? I think we don't need. We just need value. Okay. We're going to get where email equals value, or what is going on here? Passes. What if I change this into passes? Okay, I think it is something different. It implements rule, but in my case, this one implements validation rule. Probably there is this version difference between me and ChatGPT. What version of Laravel is this? It is 8, Laravel 8. Okay, let me check how I can make custom validation rule, or I can simply write a function. Okay, let me think. Just creating new validation rule is necessary when you want it in multiple places. Okay, at the moment, I don't need this in multiple places. I can revert this back into validate, and I can write this validation rule, which we don't need to do actually anything. We just need to execute the fail function. Or I can just grab this part. I can delete this new validation rule. I think we don't need it. And inside this group controller, I can write this custom function here. But I think I need custom request class. Okay, now here's the point. I don't want to write such a large validation function here, which should be an anonymous function. I don't want. So either I'm going to create a new request class or new validation rule. I think I'm going to go with a new request class. PHP artisan make request invite users request. Let's change this into invite users request. We're going to get once the data is validated from here. Okay, and then the data will have the data should have already there something, or maybe the request class needs to have the user. Right now I'm inviting a single user, but if I change and implement this as an array of users, then I need to query users. So I'm going to get user ID right now here as a single user. This is going to be data email maybe, or data user. Let's get the user. Maybe this is going to be entire user. Okay, I think first I need to implement this part. By the way, in terms of authorize, or in terms of authorize, we should restrict. Now we have this group, right? So this group equals this root group, and this is an instance of group. Okay, then we have this method if group is admin for the currently authenticated user, if it's an admin of the group. If it's not an admin, we're going to return false. If it's an admin, we're going to return true. So basically I can return true if it's admin. Just like this. Then we're going to proceed, and we are going to have email to be required. And right here we need this function to validate it. Okay, so we need attribute, we need value, and we need closure to be fail. Then I'm going to query user equals user where email is value, or where username is the value. Let's actually import the user. No, the user is there. Let me call this query, because when I call query, hold on. Why is it complaining about this? App models user query. So that should exist. And then I check if the user exists. Well, if it doesn't exist, we're going to call fail and provide the message. Username, this must be valid. Or let's just write differently. User does not exist. Okay, however, if the user exists and if the validation has been passed, we want to get it. Okay, so after there's validation, pass the validation. Okay, when the validation has been passed, what's the purpose of that? We can get the email and select the user. And this user, by the way, has already been selected here. So probably I need to define right here public user. This user needs to be removed from here. And maybe I can replace this with the import. So I'm going to set now this user equals that user. Why do I have this Boolean provided? Okay, I'm going to get first. It doesn't matter. Now this is correct. So the error basically says that right here you have defined that this should be a user, but this is returning the illuminate modal object. Anyway, so if this user doesn't exist, then we write that the user doesn't exist. Okay, we're gonna make this nullable, and we need this question mark in front of it to make this nullable. And we don't need this past validation. And if we go in the group controller right now, we should have user equals request user, just like this. and this is the user ID which we are inviting. Okay, now let's provide status, which should be group user status pending. We need role, which will be group user role user. We need the token to be random. Okay, what is this str? There was one str already written, this one. Let's just use this random. I'm going to use large token 256 length, and let's replace this with import. So at the top we should have this illuminate support str. The token expire date should be carbon now add hours. Let's add 24 hours. That should be 8 hours. We have the group ID, and created that will be automatically set. Let me just check that we are missing this token and token expire date here. As soon as this is created, we are going to return. How we are going to return? It depends how I am going to make the request on this. So if I'm going to make request using Inertia's form submission, then I'm going to redirect user to back. But if I make the request using Axios, which is probably how I'm going to do it, no, actually I'm going to do this using Inertia, and I'm going to call back with success. User was invited to join to group. Now I need to test this. Let's go in this invite model user, and we're going to make the request to group invite users. We are going to pass props. We are going to pass the group, but we don't have group here anywhere. So I'm going to use page, use page. Okay, and then from this page, we have page props dot group, page props group slug. We're going to pass this object here on success. Not submit, but that should be post. Okay, on success, and we have on error. Now let's print the result in both cases. And on success, basically, we're going to also close modal. Now let's have a look. Now I'm going to invite Mary. However, we just defined the modal, but we are not using this modal properly in our component. So let me put this invite user modal. we need vModal here, show invite user modal. Show invite user modal equals false. And when we click on this button right here, we're going to set show invite user modal equals true. Click on this, the modal is displayed. We're going to provide username or email. I'm going to provide test and have a look. Hit on submit. We see error, user doesn't exist. In the console, we also see this user doesn't exist. And we're going to display this error. So right here, we're going to print div with errors. But we need to accept those from maybe from page props errors. What are those? Okay, we get this. Perfect. And we need to take email out of it and display this. Errors for .email. Good. Then we need to give it text red 500. And if there is this error, we need to give it border red 500. Otherwise, we're going to provide an empty array. Now this gets red as well. And maybe we need to give also on focus, we're going to have also border red 500. And maybe we need on focus outline red 500 as well. Or instead of outline, maybe it should be ring red 500. Yes. Okay, user doesn't exist. Now let's provide mary@example.com. We just hit on submit. And user was invited to join to group. This is cool. Now let's check what happened in the database. We should have pending user token expire date. We see user ID, second user, everything worked except that we don't send email right now. The Mary should receive an email. If I try to invite Mary second time, there will be second record added right here for the same user, which I guess is not a problem. But whenever, okay, let me think. So the Mary will approve either this or this. I think we should update the existing invitation. Yes, I think we should update. We should not create two records right here. That might create problems in the future when we write some queries, okay? Because we expect right now that there is single record right here for that specific group, for that specific user. But now we have two, which might cause some problems in the future. Let's go in the group controller and I'm going to implement email sending, but I'm going to also handle the updating of this invitation. Let me delete the second record. And first, let's select group user equals, maybe I can just delete existing group user. So group user where, and we're going to provide the user ID. Hold on. We are going to also check if the user is already invited and approved. Okay, in this case, it doesn't make sense to do this. So let's copy this return, and we are going to query group user auth ID, and we need group ID. We're going to get first, and we're going to do check if group user does not exist. Well, if the group user doesn't exist, then we're good and we're going to create. We need to return if the group user exists, and if the group user status is group user status approved, in which case we're going to return with an error that user is already joined to the group. So in our case, if I just change the status of the Mary into approved, and I try to join Mary, user is already joined to the group. Actually, this should be an error. Why am I returning with success? Let's check this group profile page. We have success, but we need this error as well, which should be probably part of the validation. We should not do this with go back. We should put this inside the validation. And probably we should do this inside this function. If the user doesn't exist, we say that user doesn't exist. We are going to select this group user. We have this group, by the way. Let's create public group here, and I'm going to assign this group. And if this group is admin is false, if this is false, then we're going to return. However, here we have this group. We are getting the first, and then we are going to do the following check. If the group exists and the status is already approved, we're going to return, we're going to fail the validation with the message user is already joined to group. Then I'm going to get this group user from request. I don't have this group user. I think I need to query group user as well. Let's define public group user equals group user. Actually, this can be null. So here we said this group user, and here we need this group user. Now I'm getting this group user. If the group user exists, so right here, if the group user exists, it means that it is pending group user. So we can delete this. If group user exists, it is pending. So on group user, we can call delete, and we can generate new and send it. So in this case, the user is already approved. So if I try to invite Mary, we're going to get this user is already joined to the group. Okay. However, if I change this into pending and click on submit, let's reload the page. Mary, hit on submit. Okay, I still get this same error. Okay, now let's check this request. If the group user exists and the status equals approved, how is this status here? What is the status here? This is the problem. I am using auth ID. I should be using this user ID. I was checking a different group user. So yes, exactly. Now, if I hit on submit, that was invited. And if we check in the group users, and if I reload, I can see that now the previous was deleted and new was added. And you can see that the ID will be increased as well. So if I try to invite Mary again, we're going to see 12 right here. So the previous got deleted. Now the only thing remaining right here is to actually send an email. So we're going to generate the email and send this email. And I'm going to remember now the email sending part. Email sending. So this is notification. Okay. Okay, for sending notifications, or we have this mail notifications, I think we should start from here. If a notification supports being sent as an email, you should define toMail method and notification class. The method will receive a notification and okay, the notification can be many things, but in this case we're gonna create the notification, and we're gonna then do this toMail. Let's start from the top. Introduction. In addition to support for sending emails, Laravel provides support for sending notifications across a variety of delivery channels, such as email, SMS, formerly known as, and Slack. In addition, a variety of community-built notification channels have been created to send notifications over dozens of different channels. So basically, we're going to use this notification system to send emails. Notifications may also be stored in a database, so they can be displayed in a web interface. This is great. Like previously, I had implemented differently in previous versions of Laravel, but I think recently it was changed. Now we're going to make the notification. Okay, this is the first step, what we're going to do. PHP artisan make notification, and we're going to call this invitation in group. Invitation in group. Okay, this is the notification. Let's open invitation in group. Cool. We have this via the channel through which we're going to notify the user, and we have this toMail, by the way, which already exists, the introduction to the notification actions, to array. Okay, let's read a little bit more, although I think now this is fully clear. The command will place a fresh notification class. Okay, this is clear. Sending notifications. How we're going to send them. Notifications may be sent in two ways, using notify method of the notifiable trait or using notification facade. The notifiable trait is included in your application's user model. Okay, the user is actually notifiable. If the user is notifiable, then I can use user notify. Okay, cool. In our case, we need to do this user, which is Mary in our example. We are going to do user notify new invitation in group. However, we obviously need some additional data, such as if the example is right here, invoice paid, and we pass the invoice, we need to pass right here group. So invitation group should accept this. Maybe I can make this public group right here. Let's import app models group. Let's read a little bit more. Remember, you may use notifiable trait on any of your models. You are not limited to only including to your user model. Okay, that's good. We can do this through notification facade as well, and to send this multiple users, which we don't want in this case. So obviously I recommend to read the documentation, but in this case I'm going to just jump a couple of things. We can provide different channels. Notifications may be sent to mail, database, broadcast. Okay. What if I also want to save in the database? Do I need to create a new migration? If you would like to use other delivery channels such as Telegram or Pusher, check out Community Drive and Laravel notification channel websites. Okay, here we have this notifiable via mail and database. Okay, additionally, there's possibility to queue the notifications. And we can make this queuable, which we don't want in our case. We can delay some notifications to be sent a little bit later. And we have much more flexibility. And I'm not going to go obviously through all of them and read that. But I think we have enough what we need right now. So we have this group. The only thing I want is to create new blade file for the notification. Okay, on-demand notifications. Sometimes you may need to send a notification to someone who is not stored as a user on your application. Okay, using the notification facades, route method. Okay, this is different. This is also what we don't need. Okay, here we're talking about the mail notifications, formatting mail messages. This is exactly what I want. We have this greeting line if, but I want a blade view file. Is this written somewhere? If a notification supports being sent as an email, you should define toMail method. Okay. The mail message class contains a few simple methods to help you build transactional email messages. Does this have kind of like view? Yes, it does. We have to provide view here. That should be invitation in group. Okay, obviously this will throw an error. So I will go in my group controller, I will comment this creation line, and I will just try to make an invitation, and I need to see what is the error. So Mary, hidden submit. Invitation group view, invitation group not found. And this is checking weird. Does this check inside the resources, views? Let's create this file. Invitation in group blade.php. Test. Okay, let's retry this. Mary, hit and submit. Okay, it worked. And we see test here. This is already good. We just need to define the proper layout, because that email is just a plain email. Okay, do we have any examples about the layout? We have these error messages, which we don't actually care in this case. We can provide the view. We can customize the sender, customizing the recipient. Customize the subject, mailer. Okay, what's about this? You can modify the HTML and plain text templates used by mail notifications by pushing the notification packages resources. After running this comment, okay, let me do one thing. I want to remove this view and see how this notification will be sent in terms of the UI perspective. So I'm going to send Mary, and we're going to see this is sent with the layout. You see, so we have this Laravel logo at the top. We see this hello, the introduction to the notification, notification action, which is actually not bad. And then we have this thank you for using our application. So this is basically, this is the content. Line, action, line. Do we need custom blade file in this case? Hello. Maybe we can provide text right here. You have been invited to join to group, and we can provide the group name here. That should be this group name. You have been invited to join to group Vue.js developers, for example. Click here to join, or maybe we can just call this join the group. Okay, and maybe we can write the link will be valid for next 24 hours. And in terms of the URL, we need to provide maybe absolute path, but what about providing route right here? We need to define this route, by the way. We need to define this route. Let's just write slash for now and have a look what type of email I will get. So I'm inviting Mary, click on submit, go back, open this, hello. You have been invited to join to group Vue.js developers. Join the group. The link will be valid for next 24 hours. I think this is actually really good and well enough. However, if you need some advanced things, maybe you should check this customizing the templates, which will give you possibility to customize the templates, what you see right here in terms of the button colors or everything, which will be, I think, very, very necessary in certain cases. Okay, so I think I'm good right now. I just need to provide the correct URL. Let me just define this URL right now to join to group. Why this is red underline? Multiple definition exists. Okay. Let's duplicate this, and this is going to be get group. This is going to be we can call this join. However, I will probably have another road for join, in which case you can directly join to group. This will be probably approve invitation. And we are going to have just the token. This is going to be token. And this is going to be approve invitation method. And right here, we're going to have group approve invitation as well. So this is the road name, which I will put in my notification class. Road group approve notification. I think I can delete right now this blade file. I don't need that. Okay, and I need to provide the token. The token I'm passing group right here, but I can also pass the token. Also in my email, I have written that the link will be valid for next 24 hours. This is not quite correct. It is actually correct right now, but what if I change right here into 6 hours? Then I have to go and change it into 6 right here as well. So this is something I need to change as well. Let's define hours here, 24. And we're going to provide here hours. And let's take this token as well. So we're going to get the hours and provide here. We're going to get the token and provide here. And we provide hours and token both here. So let's get public int hours and public string token. Here I'm going to put this hours, and here inside this root I'm going to provide this token. Now let's send this notification to Mary. Submit. That was sent. Let's check this. Join to group. This is the large link, approve invitation, join the group. Okay, this doesn't exist yet, so let's create this, and then we are one step from the actually implementing this invitation. Approve invitation. We are going to accept string token here. We just need to validate this token, right? We are going to check if that exists as a pending in the group users table. So let's just query group user equals group user query where token is provided token. Okay, let's get actually first if something exists with that token. Okay, if that group user doesn't exist, we're gonna write not. If that doesn't exist, we are going to return, probably we're going to throw new exception, new bad request exception. Let's return this bad request exception. The token is not valid, like this. Now, if I reload the page, I see that the token is not valid. But this bad request exception is not ideal. We should show user. So this is actually an exception, and when you have a look at the exception, you see that you see the whole trace of the exception, which is actually not what we want probably in our case. I should probably render the exception. Inside JS pages, I'm going to create error page. Okay, and inside the template, I'm just going to write, well, basically I'm going to accept two props, define props here. Title is going to be string, and description or body, which is going to be string as well. So then inside h1, let's give it text 2xl. I'm just going to output title, and then we're going to have this body inside which I'm just going to output body. From the group controller, I am going to return inertia and pass this error file. Okay, but we're going to pass also title to be the token is not valid. Let's actually pass on only title. Let's reload the page. The token is not valid, and we should probably put this inside the layout. Let's try authenticated layout. Okay, what if I try to open this in incognito? First, it asks me to log in, which is not correct. If I go in the web, I need to take this out from the authentication middleware and put this above. Now, if I open this in incognito, actually I did something wrong. Let's copy this and open this in incognito. I see that the token is not valid. Okay, let's give it some padding. Div. We're going to have padding of 8, for example, and text center. The token is not valid. Padding Y probably should be like 32. Why is it not working? Padding Y. I think I need to reload my Vite server. The token is not valid. Let's reduce this into like 16. Okay, and if I open this in incognito, we see that the token is not valid. Okay, now, but we have different types of errors that might exist, but it might be expired. Okay, if that exists and its expired date, how it's called, token, well, we can check also token used. If token used is provided, then we are going to return, actually let's return this once below, but we're going to define title to be different values. And let me change this into compact title. Let's define title here. So then this is going to be title. Else, if the token is used, then title will be the token is already used. Else if group user token expire date, okay, if this is in past, I'm going to compare this into Carbon now. If this is in past, then title will be the token is already expired. Else if this group user status, actually I think we should check the status one of the first things. If that doesn't exist, we say that the token is valid. Then we check this. Then we're gonna check. Okay, we can do like this. It doesn't really matter. So if we're gonna move this up, then the different message will be displayed first, but it really doesn't matter. So if the status equals group user status approved, then our error will be the token or the link is already used. Maybe we can just replace the token with the link. The link is not valid. The link is expired. The link is already used. Okay, let's now see. The link is not valid. And actually, this is correct. Now, we uncommented this part. And if we go in the user groups, we are going to send the invitation to Mary right now. So the record was made here. And we see you have been invited to join to Vue.js developers. Okay, and the link is valid for next 24 hours. Now I'm going to change a few things. First, I'm going to set something in the token used and copy this, copy link address and open in incognito. The link is already used. I see this valid message coming from here. Okay. If the group user doesn't exist, we will see that the link is not valid. Now we see link is already used. Now we are going to remove this. I'm going to set null here, but I'm going to change the state into past. Let's set this into 8th of December. And I open in incognito, paste, hit the enter. The link is expired, which is correct. Okay, let me set this in the future now. And the last thing we need to check is if the status is already approved. If the status is already approved, then the token will also be used. But anyway, let's check this. Approved. And I'm gonna copy the link, open in incognito. The link is already used. So we see the validation works successfully. The only thing I will change, let's change this back into pending. The only thing I will change is I'm going to take this if the token used or if the status is approved. Then we say the link is already used. Let's remove this part. Okay, and I'm going to rename this title and call error title. And then I'm going to check if the error title exists, then we are going to return this. But if that in none of these ifs we are satisfied, it means that we have to approve this invitation right now. So the group user status equals group user status approved. We're going to set this token used to be carbon now, and I'm going to call group user save. Okay, and another thing will be that probably we should send email to the admin user as well that the user Mary joined to the group. Here we have this created by. We're going to create new notification, make notification, invitation approved. Let's go in the invitation approved. We are going to accept right here. What type of message do we want? User, whoever, okay, we need user information. User has joined to group. We need the group name as well. User has joined to group. I think we need only user and group. We don't need, or maybe we can call this open group. And right here we need the root group profile, and we need to provide the group. So I will accept right here public group and public user. Let's import this group, app models group, and right here I'm going to use this user name, and here I'm going to use this group name, and here I'm going to provide group. Okay, user Mary has joined to group Vue.js developers, open group. We can leave this thanks for using our application or something like this. And we need to implement sending this. So in the group controller, I want to get the admin user from this group user. But I think we don't have this relation defined, so we need to define this. Public function admin user will be return this belongs to user by the field created by. We also have another user which belongs to user but with the user ID, so we don't need this foreign key in this case because by default Laravel will mean user ID. We need to add this belongs to here and here as well, and this belongs to needs to be imported as well. Cool. And then we get this admin user, which is group user admin user. And then on this admin user, I'm going to call notify passing new invitation approved. And here I'm going to pass group and the user. And I also need to define the relation to group. Group, this belongs to group. Awesome. So then I'm passing here, group, and I'm passing group user. So I'm sending this invitation to the admin user and passing the group and the user, which will be accepted here, and we are using inside the text, which is correct. And finally, I am going to, what I'm going to do. So probably I'm just going to give the user some notification that you have been approved to the group, or maybe we need to redirect user, return route, this route, we need this route. Group user group. Okay, now you have been invited to join to group Vue.js developers. I'm going to copy the link. I'm going to open incognito, hit the enter. Sorry, I should have redirected user. Instead, I just returned redirect to the route. But I think good news is that if we check group users, we see that this turned into approved. Also, the token used was set, but I'm going to set this now. I'm going to set this into pending because I want to check that functionality. And I reload the page and I was redirected here, but I think I need some message as well. Redirect with success. You accepted to join to group, and let's provide the group name here as well. This is going to be group user group name. Okay, let's again change this into pending, and this token used set to null. And let's test this once again. Let's reload it. Not reload actually, but we should get this. By the way, we received two emails. This is sent to admin john@example.com. User Mary has joined to group Vue.js developers. Open group. I click on this, it opens the group. Okay, and I received this 2 times because we have this implemented. Awesome. So I'm going to open incognito, paste, hit the enter, and you accepted to join to group Vue.js developers. This is good. Okay, and just like this, we have implemented the functionality to invite users to join to a group, accepting that invitation, sending emails, invitation emails, and send the accept emails as well.